thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely.
Esteemed council members, nice to see you again, and giving me the opportunity to introduce myself and my candidacy. My name is Kahn. I'm running for Congress, for U.S. House of Representatives, 1st District. And I'm a 17-year resident of the district. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a local business owner. My company, K2 Industrial Controls, is a manufacturers representative organization that works with American manufacturers, helping them to export their made in the USA products. I've served on boards of directors both of publicly listed companies and nonprofits alike. I've been a road warrior for most of my career, but in my time when I'm in town, I've devoted time to youth sports. I'm a USA hockey certified coach. I've coached both in the Cincinnati leagues and the Dayton leagues. I think one of your color guardsmen was a hockey player that I coached about 9 years ago. And I currently serve on the Sycamore High School board of ice hockey, their ice hockey association. I'm running for Congress because I think that at our federal level, our elected officials are failing us. I'm running as a libertarian, the Libertarian Party, because I believe that policy of small federal government, fiscal prudence, and letting people live free and to their fullest as long as they're doing no harm to anyone else is the best form of government, and I think it's what our founding fathers envisioned when they debated, framed, and adopted our Constitution. And I'd like to let the voters of Lebanon know that this year, for the first time in about 8 years, you have an opportunity to pull a libertarian ballot in the primaries. For my candidacy, I'm focusing on 3 main issues that I think resonate with the constituents of the 1st District. And the first is term limits for Congress. American voters overwhelmingly support term limits. During his candidacy for presidency, Mr. Trump promised that he would support term limits. And in a recent poll, 79% of people asked, hope that he keeps this campaign promise, including 91% of the Republicans that were surveyed. 82% would love to see a constitutional amendment for term limits. My opponent in the race, Mr. Steve Chabot, signed a pledge before his previous election stating that he supported term limits, but here we are 2 elections later. The obstacle with term limits is that both legacy parties in Washington support big government agendas right now. Some years there's more welfare than warfare. Other years there's more welfare and also more warfare. But every year there's a bigger debt. We run federal deficit spending and have for a quarter of a century. We steal the economic opportunity from our kids and future generations. Representatives aren't aligned, their focus isn't aligned with constituencies. They have to please lobbyists who finance their next elections. So we end that by limiting how many next elections they can have. This needs to be done by candidates like me, apart from the duopoly legacy parties who have no interest or buy-in into big government agendas. So I want to be your voice for fiscal conservancy in Washington. It'll benefit our democracy considerably. It'll reduce the importance of lobbyist money in elections. It will make it easier for districts to free themselves of unsatisfactory incumbents. Latest polls say that 17% of people approve of Congress's job, but 90% of incumbents get reelected. So I pledge if I get sent to Washington, I will work on legislation enacting term limits, and I would pledge that I wouldn't serve any more than 3 terms. The second issue that I'm focusing on is the Second Amendment. And I think this is a good night to be here for that. Our nation was birthed and enshrined in the rights that are protected under our Second Amendment. And I think we know that when Paul Revere rode through the streets of Lexington and Concord, screaming the British are coming, they were coming to take colonial citizens' gunpowder. The ability to defend oneself is a natural right, both from societal dangers and government tyranny. Both Republicans and Democrats right now are floating flawed plans that will infringe this right. Government earns its power from the people. The people don't ask for liberties and freedom from the government. History around the world has shown that when populations lose their Second Amendment right, it's very easy for governments to come after other rights that are protected by our Bill of Rights. So on this issue, I don't waver. The third issue is immigration. And this one, with the son of an immigrant and an immigrant wife in our White House, following a presidency where we had a son of an immigrant, astounds me how much it divides our nation. One of our greatest pillars of strength in this country is the diversity of our community. Another is the American dream. And we need to be able to continue to offer that to the world. It makes us unique. It gives us an aura of invincibility. The story of America is in itself the story of immigrants. And I'm sure everyone in this room has an immigration story, whether that's themselves, a spouse, adopted children, a parent, grandparent, or like me, 8 great-grandparents who came here alone, found each other, built families, raised patriotic Americans who served, started businesses, gave people employment. We need to welcome those who want to commit time, energy, resources to build prosperous communities. Immigrants are our employers, they're skilled laborers, they're our service workers and our consumers. They build our economy and they donate to charity. And we need to find a way to enable a free and fair system so that anyone who has the hunger to come and help build our communities, knowing that each individual has a natural right and expectation to be treated humanely and with dignity, has the opportunity to do that. So with that, thank you for the time. If you would like to learn more about my campaign, it can be found at Kahn, like the hot dog, Kahn4Congress.com, and I have a very active Facebook page, also Kahn4Congress, and I will be here through the meeting. If anybody wants to ask me anything after, I'm happy to meet with you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, sir, very much.